Hey everyone, thank you for joining me. Today we have the Gerber Asada. This thing is a pretty sweet blade by Gerber. Real quick before we get into it, specs on screen. Now this is a blade that I think they did a really good job on. So this is a flipper style blade, as you guys can tell. It's got a D2 steel blade in a cleaver style. It's got a nice stone wash on it, and the front finger choil is a really good size, so you can really choke up on this blade, and it's just got really good ergos. Now, as you guys can tell, this has a green micarta scale with a lock bar stopper or overextender. I can't remember the technical name for it, but it has one of those, and I think they did a really good job on it, especially with the little texturing on it. And then you got a really wide and fat pocket clip, which I like. I'm a pretty big fan of that wide pocket clip with enough clearance. It's not deep carry, but not an issue for me. And this blade is also riding on bearings, so the action is just really smooth and fast. Even the drop shot on this blade is very good, and I believe the detent is set up perfectly. Like, it just, you guys can even hear it. Just a nice solid detent. I'll do it one more time. I think Gerber nailed it on this one. To me, in my own opinion, this is like the flat iron revamped, basically. It's just, I want to say this is almost what the flat iron should have been. If not like this, at least for the flat iron to have bearings. I think that would make a huge difference for the flat iron. Really, the only issue I have with this blade is the access to the lock bar. Is, as you can see right here, it's even with the lock bar and the scale, so it's kind of hard to, it's not impossible, but it's a little challenging to get your thumb in there to release the blade. So what I noticed was that in the liner, the scale, you can see there's a cutout for the liner, but Gerber didn't commit to cutting it out on the scale, so I'm assuming that was their intention, because honestly that would make a world of difference. I could easily access the liner lock if that little bit was just shaved down, as you can see in there. But I think I'm gonna reach out to the customer and let them know it will be a huge difference and just a lot better if I take that little piece of material out, which I'll do on the new scale as well. Alright, so let's just get to the changes that I will be doing to this blade. So I'm going to be etching the blade, the lock bar stopper, and the pocket clip just so they all match. Now for the scale, I'm going to be creating a G10 carbon fiber mixed scale, kind of like I did on the Recon XL. I'll post that link up here in the corner for you guys if you guys haven't seen it. And then I will also be creating a aluminum backspacer to fill this section. And then I will be creating a X pattern on the aluminum backspacer and then also on the back of the spine of the blade. So let's get to taking this thing apart and see what we're dealing with. Now this blade does take a T8 for the pivot and then T6 for all the other hardware parts. Alright guys, so here it is, all taken apart. Very simple setup, and I'm really happy that it came apart because Gerber is known to not really come apart, and you tend to strip all the hardware, and so I'm super happy it came apart. That's pretty much it. So let's get to customizing it. Alright everyone, so here it is all customized. Now I want to get to the scale right away. So this was the G10 / carbon fiber mix. I did this on the cold steel version a couple videos back, so I am really happy how these turned out. Now based on the scallop texture, we did some other parts to kind of match this texture just so it has some flow and consistency. Because originally we wanted to do a different design, but the customer changed his mind, which is fine, but I think it was for the better. Next we'll go to the blade. Now the blade etched differently than most other blades I do, but I think it just depends on the steel that's being used. And Gerber steel is usually not the best. I believe this is the D2 version, but I am happy with the outcome. And you guys can see this is the texture. So the rock pattern I put on the spine of the blade. Super happy with that, and then I even put it on just the front. Just looks really good. Again, consistent with the texture of the scale. And I'm also really happy with the stone wash that came out. It's more spotted than scratches, but it still looks really, really good. So happy with that. And then the back spacer is made out of aluminum, so this thing literally weighs nothing. But there it is. This has also got the rock pattern, and then since everything is angled, you just get a really cool effect from the lights. So again, different angles, different things happen, so really happy with this. Goes well with the spine and the scale. And then for the pocket clip and the stop, or the lock bar stopper, I just gave them a nice stone wash and an etch and a stone wash, and the Gerber slightly there. So those came out really well. And that's pretty much it. I gave the frame lock side a bit of a stone wash as well, just to kind of match everything else. It's very light, but it is noticeable in different angles. But since the scale is black, it's kind of a back and forth with the stainless look and the black. So there's just a really good flow with this knife. So enough talking about it. Let's put this thing together and see what it looks like. Alright, so here it is all put together. And man, does this thing look mean. Looks way different from the original one. And I think it just looks a lot better. Even if I was to take the original scale and put this texture, I still think it would look good. So I guess it's just that texture that really looks good. But honestly, the carbon fiber just gives it a really unique look and definitely makes it stand out. Now let's see if the action works. So yeah, just as good as before. Drop shut, nice and smooth. And yeah, I did that little cutout that I mentioned earlier where your thumb goes, and it makes a world of difference. So like I said in the beginning of the video, I noticed there was a cutout in the liner, so you guys can see right there. It was just really strange that they didn't do it on the original one, and I ended up just doing it on the original for the customer, just in case he wants to swap it out. And he does have it modified, and again, it makes a world of difference. I still don't understand why Gerber didn't commit to it, or they had the idea to do it, but really strange, but 1,000 times better. Action works. It clears the inside of that backspacer that I created, so nothing is being hit. And then yeah, here's the lock bar side, and yeah, that contrast of dark and light just kind of flows with the whole theme of the knife, and I think it looks really, really good. Let me know what you guys think down below. I always appreciate you guys' comments and feedback. Some of the comments you guys leave just they make me laugh, so keep it up. You guys are really, really making this fun. And one more thing I wanted to point out was, since aluminum is really soft, I kind of sunk the backspacer in a little bit. As you can see, there's maybe a 1/16 difference where the backspacer is. So it's cut down just a little, just in case it does fall, it hits the steel first, or that's the idea. And then I also dropped, as you can see there, I angled the top of the backspacer, so that way when you're using your finger to flip it, your finger doesn't catch on anything. So I just sunk it down nicely, so that won't be an issue ever. And yeah, there is the pattern on the spine. So again, yeah, it just flows, as you can see, just has that nice flow and consistency, and then your scale. So yeah, that's it, you guys. Again, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Feel free to share these videos. And as always, I will see you guys on the next one.